Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the conclusion of North American and the conclusion to all of our relegations for Season 3. My name's Fdot, joined here by Adanas. We're going to take you into the battle of the bigs. It's Flex versus, they're going to take on Denial today. We'll take a look at the Randozos and Problem Solved a little bit later. You'll be granted with Allied once again. You'll be alongside DM Brandon for that trip.
Denial, Flex, a lot of players that have been around since kind of the start of competitive Smite. You know, dating back to 2012, you got Shadowq and Mace, bringing in Xenotronics, BennyXD, and Whalrus, kind of some new generation players, especially BennyXD, who I haven't really seen too much. Even in the Challenger scene, he's kind of the unknown quantity for me, and he'll be matched up directly against, you know, DaretoCare, Lassiz, you know, Incon, these players that have been around on top teams forever. Now, obviously, none of these players are as successful as they used to be, you know, being in the 1 and 2 spots, but they're still hanging around. These guys are still veterans.
Exactly, and when you look at the roster that Denial has and just look at the history that most of these players have had, it's really difficult to even call, honestly, this matchup between Flex and them. So you can't write them off just yet, even despite the last-minute roster changes with BennyXD joining.
I don't know
again.
who that is.
Yeah,
I really want to see how well he does. It's going to be at first I was like, well, there's Benny Q, who's like a hunter, who's, you know, kind of that famous hate from last year, the Bronx Bombers, like up-and-comer. Let's see what Benny, you know,
what he got.
What can Benny, you know, Q do? But this guy, I haven't seen anything from him. So
yeah,
I'm really excited to see what his god pull is and what he can bring out here against Flex.
Yeah, he's a big question mark for me as well. Looking across up until later, we'll look at, well, I guess we'll look at Problem Solved and Randozos a little bit later on in the afternoon. For now, let's just get into picks and bans. We've got game number 1, Team Flex taking on Denial here. And a little bit mess up, but on the left-hand side will be likely Denial.
No, that's Neil M. They've come back. They've come back for a vengeance after getting knocked out. They're like, Flex, you got lucky last week. We're coming back in. We're going to face off. We got 3-1 last time. Here, it's going to be the opposite. We're going to win. No, that is Denial. Yeah, there we go. We got it.
So I had to take the 50-50. It's either like it could have, even though it's there because it's the last setup.
What if
Flex
it really is messed up? What if Flex is border side?
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the issues, but Denial is going to be on the left side with first pick and first ban.
Can't get any worse than yesterday. I mean, it could, but let's not jinx it. We're gonna be. Oh, so they are flipped. So Flex is. So I was right. I called it, Thom. All right, Flex is gonna be order side. Denial chaos side. Let's get into picks and bans here. Let's see. Hopefully they'll start banning here in a second. So something to note is Robin. Robin in the most recent patch has been nerfed. His Piranha Onslaught has gone from 6 to 8 seconds, and some of the Soul Laners are, you know, a little unsure of how much they want to value this pick now. He can't really dominate the lane and get ahead like he used to. Some gods like Bellona and Tyr, who typically, you know, they were struggling trying to match up to his pressure, pretty even now.
And with that, the expected bans that we might not normally see have already been shaken up. The Khepri and the Giannis and the Athena, pretty par for the course. But the Kali ban,
that's targeted
towards BennyXD.
I mean, you're not Peckies, right? You're not going to run it in the duo lane, right? I mean, maybe you will, but I'm assuming that's BennyXD is probably a ranked player, and it's kind of one of those flavor gods for him. Team Flex going to pick up Isis, and this isn't just picking it up for them for the high pressure. This is taking away from Mace. Isis, back in Season 1, was considered trash tier. Like, no one pick her up. She's terrible. The only player who ever played her was Macetodaface, and he played her so well.
And Sio.
And Sio. I give it to Sio as well.
Gotta mention Sio.
And just Macetodaface, one of the best Isis players in the world, taking that away from him, so critical.
Yeah, Isis, with Isis on Team Flex, I'm curious as to what we'll see on Denial. Maybe an Agni, but Kumbhakarna and Bellona selected for Denial right away, so they'll be taking that Shadowq will be playing.
I'm a little bit surprised we saw Kumbha picked up this early, but I do like the Kumbha pick against Isis specifically. You can mez out Wingust, and more importantly, when she drops her ultimate, or even before she drops her ultimate, you could send her up into the sky with his. And basically, you can combo her down as she lands, or at the very least, make sure she doesn't get the benefits of Circle of Protection.
Guan, we've seen him really devastate a couple of teams in the past couple of weeks looking at relegation, and Odin has been I don't want to say surprisingly powerful pick, but definitely a pick that sort of came out of nowhere just because of how well he does against some of the more popular picks. And right now with Kumbhakarna and Bellona on the board, Bellona can ult out of it, but that's obviously not how she wants to use it.
For me, Odin is a top tier pick right now. You look at the top gods in the meta: Guan, Isis, Chiron, Vimana. Basically, those 3 are the most important, right? Or those 4 are the most important. Destroyed by Odin. On top of that, Hou-Yi, who is also one of the top hunters in the game, combos so well with them. You're seeing a lot of Hou-Yi Odin. You're seeing a lot of Odins against these more important picks.
Sobek going to be banned out here from Denial. So we'll see where Team Flex wants to go in answer to the Guardian.
There's a couple options here. Obviously, they don't want to ban out hunters. They still need to pick up their own. They could look to ban out mid laners. They already have their Isis. You know, what's good against that Isis? You could look to ban out Agni, Scylla as well. I like this because while Agni is very good against Isis, if you have Odin, you can just cage him in, and he's basically as good as dead. If you can catch his dash or catch him like mid-dash or before he can dash away, Odin just shuts down Agni, and all he has to worry about is making sure not to get blown up himself inside his own ring. And since, you know, the recent patches, he can now walk out of his ring. Much safer pickup.
And Scylla is one of the few mages that can actually get out of that ring safely. A lot of those jumps and leaps don't find their way onto the magical carries. Guan going to be banned out by Team Flex as well. So there's that pick. We didn't see much pick or ban of this highly powerful character yesterday in Europe. North America clearly aware of what Guan can do.
Yeah, Europe is like, they didn't pick Circuit. They don't care about Circuit. They don't care about the top picks. We're going to run our own stuff, right? We're going to run this Chronos Wukong duo lane, you know, looking at Paradigm specifically, and, you know, get top 4 at Worlds. Speaking of Chronos, actually, Chronos going to get picked up for Denial, more than likely going to Mace in the mid lane.
Mm-hmm. I would elect
It's a good pickup versus Isis, considering you can time stop that Wing Gust.
Bacchus also selected by Team Flex. It's probably going to go in the support role. And they got the last pick coming up.
Neith is always an option here,
yeah.
Just for that early game pressure. You run the risk of getting into later game scenarios where it's going to be riskier, but they're going to go full late game and pick up Ram. And I'm not the biggest fan of Ram, but if you can get him into late game, he's fine, right? Your team needs to go even heading into late game to make sure Ram has an impact.
Is he the new Shibalanke? I feel like teams pick
so
up...
Like,
go ahead.
I look at a couple gods in control, and it's like, if you could play this god, like, how well you play this god determines to me how good you are in your role, right? Thor for the jungle.
Sure. Okay, I know what you're saying now.
And Ram for the hunter. Basically all of his abilities outside of his ultimate enhances auto attacks.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of hunters. If you're on point, if you're hitting your auto attacks, you are just going to outplay the others. You're going to be able to outbox, and as long as your positioning's fine, you can, you know, be that top tier player in that dual lane. But we're going to head into game here, and it's going to be Oceans on that Ram. We'll have to see how well Flex is going to play around this.
Yeah, I mean, Oceans has been confident, to say the least, in the past couple of weeks of relegation. He's been very strong and willing to really step up to the plate and go in for those big plays. And Ram, as you said, it's really all just enhancing his basic attack, so he might be looking for that. Team Flex right now grouped up as 5. They're going to drop the ward, and
Shadowq smells something fishy.
Yeah, he's hanging back, and, well, they've made themselves
known. Is he AFK? Oh, I think it was AFK. He's going to get stunned out here.
Oh,
He'll
that's
be forced
a
to
problem.
get his dash. Ooh.
Strong bounce. Better stun coming out of the Chronos. That's going to set
He was shopping.
back.
Shadowq was shopping.
He was window
You saw
shopping.
him moving around, and then he pops up. He's like, what do I want to buy here? Oh, my God. It's a Bacchus.
Got him snoozing. Still, nothing gained, nothing lost.
Got to pay attention. Second you get in a game, you got to be paying attention.
Very much
Can't
so.
take your hands off your keyboard. Looks like Flex going to start at the mid camps on the left side and the right side. So looking for not only the control of these camps, but also the timers. They want to make sure that Denial has no idea when they're spawning and look to control them. It's a decent amount of experience at gold, and racking those up consistently will get you those small leads.
We've seen the mid camps being taken by the jungle and solo often, almost every single game at this point, with very few exceptions. But seeing it on the left side is a little bit different. We don't normally see this start coming out from the trio that is the mid and the duo lane.
Lassiz going to head into the mid lane, and getting a little bit later lane isn't the biggest deal for Isis. She's still going to control, but Lassiz actually doesn't have his Wing Gust, so we could see Macetodaface just clear this wave faster. Actually, no. It's still so scary against an Isis.
Don't forget, you've got DaretoCare on that Odin. We've seen what Odin can do early game. One simple jump with the Raven Shield is enough to really bring you down to a level of HP that you don't want to be at. Quick dodge out of the way from Mattypocket. You can avoid the bludgeon.
Lassiz and DaretoCare actually electing to full push this wave. They want to get control and look to try and invade or out-rotate. Left-hand side, Shadowq trying to steal away the boars.
very aggressive, was staying around, seeing if he could wait for the last hit, but Incon and Oceans intelligently play that, reducing the damage that they dealt to make Shadowq just more. Every second that he stayed in that engagement made him less safe, so wasting his time.
Something I want to talk about this duo lane is they've brought Xenotronics in, right? They've replaced Bronx Bombers, and this is the third time Shadowq's done this, right? Shadowq's this veteran support player, but actually right-hand side, we do see an invade on the boars, and a quick pause. We'll get back into the game, but in the meantime, Xenotronics is this kind of new generation hunter, right? We've seen them. We've seen the famous hates, the Bronx Bombers, the Madman Marks. Two of those players have gone through Shadowq as their support.
Right, yeah.
Neither of them have broken past kind of that bottom tier hunter, right? It's like, this guy has so much potential. He's so good. Let's see him break out and be a dominant hunter. Never happens, right? Mark, I give it to. Mark, I think, was the most skilled so far of the three, but he had other issues where, you know, he wasn't putting the time into the game. He wasn't, you know, practicing with the team or whatever it was. He had the most skill and the least success of all three. So I'm really interested to see where Shadowq can take Xenotronics.
Yeah, because Xenotronics, again, another relatively unknown, I think, is probably the best term, because known to the circle of high-ranked players, I suppose, but new to the SPL stage, he's definitely, you know, can go any direction. He's very, very fresh.
Previously a mid player, too. So he has a pretty...
Okay.
Like, that's the thing, too. When you transfer roles, especially into Hunter, Hunter is one of the most skill-intensive roles in the game, in my opinion, simply because of auto attacks, right?
Yeah, you need to land those basics.
It's like a Naja, it's like a Nux. You know, if you're not on point, you're going to be useless. It's the same with Hunter. You have to be on point every single game, and that's not easy when you first move into that role, right? Maybe you're super aggressive and players don't exactly know how to play against you, but as you get better, you almost kind of develop your own style of Hunter, and it's easier for others to match that.
And that's why a player like Barracuda is so celebrated. Barracuda doesn't always wind up on the highlight reel. He's not always making these super flash plays, but he's consistent, and he's always going to be, you can always rely on Barracuda's mechanics.
Ooh, Blinken in the mid lane here. Macetodaface trapped in the ring, and there's circle protection on top. BennyXD going to be throwing out Fear No Evil, trying to keep Mace alive. Mace super low, but not going to be enough damage coming out of Team Flex.
I love the timing of that play. Macetodaface taking a ball to the face that time, not enough to take him out. But I love the timing of that play as well, because Mace didn't have the ultimate to get him out if
Whalrus has rotated into this.
Shadowq's going to get stunned out, and Lassiz is actually going to get stunned as the solo laner goes all in. Belly flop from Incon on the side to save the mid laner, and this is enough to aggress on, but they're going two different ways. Whalrus has the bird bomb and the ISIS on top. A couple of basics might secure it, but she's weaving in between the minions.
Barely gets out, but look at this. The sun's raining down. Lassiz falls for first blood. BennyXD, he's rotated back in. Incon in an awkward spot, going to jump away though. Should be able to make it back. And Lassiz, super unfortunate for him, actually missed the Spirit Ball. That would have guaranteed first blood for him, and he likely would have been able to retreat out, but that one missed ability gives first blood over to Denial. And
a beautiful rotation coming out from Xenotronics as well. I mean, that aggression attempt, I guess I'll say, just took way too long, and you were able to like sort of trace that telephone call from mid to the long lane, and just obviously Xenotronics is going to show up.
Denial, or not, excuse me, not Denial. Lassiz seems a little bit off today, right? So start off, right, they try and, he gets a Spirit Ball, right? Because they go for the pick out Shadowq. Yeah, that's fine, right? Typically you go Wing Gust to clear camps faster. Lassiz misses his Spirit Ball on the red buff. Now, once every, 50 games, I'll give it to him. But there he missed it on a point-blank Whalrus, which would have guaranteed first blood. That's 2 missed Spirit Balls. Okay. The first time on the red buff, whatever, right? But to miss it again on a very close player, Lassiz does not seem comfortable today.
We'll take a look. It's very early in the contest. We'll come back to that thought for sure. I definitely will assess how that one goes. Right now, Whalrus not having the best of days either. That ultimate should be available. But will it matter? Finds the direction to go over the wall, but then that Spirit Ball is going to hit. Lassiz waits out the option, takes the kill.
Xenotronics going to jump away, and there we go. Lassiz connects the right one, and another pickoff. And Mattypocket, looking actually even in this lane. I'm a little bit surprised considering Whalrus now has been forced out very early after rotation and been picked off once. Mattypocket here, going to have to be farming a little bit efficiently, and now that he's got that lead, you can see him taking advantage of it and finding all that XP over in the solo lane.
Yeah, going for those extra sort of little bonus elementals, and then he'll pick up his lane as well. The monkey's rotated, so Denial has no jungle pressure at the moment. Benny covering over the solo lane. as Whalrus makes his way back. But Chronos and Kumbha sticking together here in the mid lane. There's a lot of vision from both teams on that left side map. Nobody's going to get caught unaware.
Something to note, Shadowq has gone into the sprint relic. We didn't talk about it before, but no blink Kumbhas at least early on. Maybe once he hits level 12, he'll look for it. So
sure.
Lassiz can space himself pretty well. Left-hand side, Ocean's got 1v1 Xenotronics. Welcome to SPL level players here. Finds a quick 1v1.
Battle of the rookies over there in the long lane. Xenotronics, first time he's on, this is pretty much the biggest stage he's been on. Same for Oceans, yet to reach that SPL level, but Relegations definitely the biggest games these guys have ever played in.
So I think that was Oceans just being surprised. I don't think they were going into a poke war, because the thing about Hou-Yi is, right, you have the Hunter's Mark, you have the bounce shot. If you find a bounce shot and like 2 autos on Hou-Yi, that takes a Hunter from 100% to like 15 to 20%. And you saw the Suns raining down, just getting a tick, and Xenotronics finds that left-hand side. Mid-camps, I think, went to denial there, but
yeah,
as I mentioned it before, Ram, you can't fight early.
Sure.
You just can't.
Yeah.
Ram is absolutely terrible, but in the mid lane, DaretoCare looking to find 3.
There's the ultimate out of Isis as Willis and Batz, everybody going on different sides, and some going to the sky. Down comes Incon, not enough to take him out, though. Shadowq's going to play it safe. Whalrus, on the other hand, different page, different level, going aggressive. Wingus not able
Teleport.
to reach, so Shadowq gets to root off onto DaretoCare. Spirit Ball taking the wrong exit there.
Mattypocket elects not to ult. Probably could have looked for it. 3 players super low. All he needed was a stun, but instead it looked like he was a little confused when he spawned in. You saw him looking around trying to like trying to figure out the lay of the land, but they do force 3 members successfully back to base, and now Team Flex, they're going to start up this Gold Fury. No Ice Assault to secure. Whalrus coming around the back. It's low. There's the combination, though, and Team Flex picks up the first Gold Fury. Whalrus, big bludgeon, trying to chase the members of Flex into their own jungle. They're going to do that, but Mattypocket going to be able to heal up his players, and Flex now with a slight gold lead.
A lot of times you don't need the actual kills, Kevin. Obviously, you want the extra gold from putting the enemy in the ground.
Nah, man, you gotta dive. Just dive.
But sometimes a little bit of space is all you need, and Team Flex sends a couple of players back willingly, but they take the Gold Fury in the interim. So Team Flex find themselves, it's about 900 gold. It's not really anything worth talking about, but it's a start for Team Flex to really take the lead over Denial.
That's going to help Oceans out a lot, especially considering he got 1v1'd, right? The solo kills are always the worst. It's one thing when you die to 3 players because the golden experience gets split, but when you get solo, that's such a massive lead, especially in the 2 side lanes, right? It's super important to not get soloed or to solo the other player as either a solo laner or a hunter, because that's just such a massive lead that the other player really struggles to get back into. Most notably in solo, when you can steal away boars and fire elementals and get that 2 to 3 level lead, and the other guy's like, come on, man, what am I supposed to do? It's kind of like Mattypocket right now. 2 level lead, it's going to be really hard for Whalrus to make an impact. Yeah,
before it was, last time we looked at the solo lane just a couple of minutes ago, it was around 5 minutes on the clock. The team's solo laners were relatively even. Now Mattypocket has about a 5,000 gold lead, really punishing Whalrus, pushing him under the tower.
This is exactly what he needs to do. Mid lane, though, it looks like there could be some aggression. You see Odin there.
Stunned out.
Shadowq stunned out. Misses the knock-up. There's the ring. Shadowq locked in place, and there's Sleepy Time activated. It's just going to be a matter of time. DaretoCare picks up that kill, excuse me.
Big kill for DaretoCare. That one, with the ring still up, goes on the passive, so a couple extra damage points going the way of Odin. Macetodaface getting himself in a tricky situation, finds himself in a pincer, but another great rotation out of Hou-Yi. Mattypocket able to take one out before Xenotronics ult pays off and puts Lassiz down. Whalrus, surrounded by blue, gonna get slowed and jumped on, but the ultimate will make him safe underneath his own tower. Mace is slowed, Sanctuary saved his life for the moment, but the bird bomb will explode! And there's a couple more hits, and he's dead, but can they find it?
Oh, Xenotronics, fancy bounce, and Mattypocket has to back out of that one. A little bit more coordination. I think Flex could have picked up a couple kills, but it's just going to be a 1-for-1. Mace for, actually, yeah, BennyXD died, excuse me.
Team Flex needs just a little bit more damage. You're seeing both these 2 exchanges that we just witnessed, the one right before the last Gold Fury, and this one that literally just happened. Everybody leaves with 10% or less HP, but Flex isn't able to find the last hit to secure these
Flex
kills.
Are going to have a little bit of trouble securing kills until Oceans gets online, right? There's still a lot of options, but if they're not coordinated, he's exactly right. The Bird Bomb, the Spirit Ball, the Incon's Intoxicate, if they're not coordinated those to burst someone instantly, the players are just going to be able to remove themselves from the scenario.
Lassiz is going to come up and pick up these elementals on cooldown, which, I mean, nothing lost from going to those elementals, but they're usually not worth enough to really pay attention.
It's kind of like if I've got nothing else going on
Yeah.
the map, I'm going to walk over there. Or if I'm a solo laner and I've pushed the lane. That's really the only options.
Very unique position and time to see somebody wait on that cooldown, just because there literally wasn't anything else to do. Picking up the red buff as well, Lassiz in the mid lane.
Denial Esports have to fight with Xenotronics at this point. He's 3-0-0. He's in the entirety of their kills, and he's 600 gold ahead of his counterpart.
Yeah, by himself, going very aggressive. Counter initiation coming out from the
There's
monkey,
the
but
burst.
Lassiz makes Macetodaface pop with that ult.
No ultimate from Macetodaface there, unfortunately. Was used in last engagement. Just comes up.
Yep.
I'm assuming Flex noted that timer and knew that he'd be trapped in that cage there. That's the thing about Odin Cage, 60-second cooldown, right? If you force someone's ultimate with that, in 60 seconds, you know their ult's not going to be up, right? Unless they're, like a Ra or something. And that's not anything that's going to affect them here in this game.
And Dare's building directly into that cooldown reduction, so from the get-go, Dare knows exactly what his role is to do in this game. He's going to jump on some people early, but mid to late, it's all about the ring, baby.
It's going to be really hard for either of these teams to secure kills without their hunters, right? Macetodaface maybe could secure kills, but there's so much mobility and survivability in both these players' compositions, right? Mattypocket, obviously he's a warrior, he also has the heal. DaretoCare, Odin can ring players in place, get out. Lassiz has circle protection. Incon has a leap, as well as protections in his chug. Oceans has a roll on a short cooldown, as well as ultimate to take him out of the playing space. And it's the same on the other side, right? Bellona's a warrior, hard to lock down. BennyXD on that Hunbats has that Fear No Evil, that displacement. Macetodaface can rewind, reset like his entire health bar. Shadowq, so much CC. Xenotronics, he's the only one. He's probably the easiest player out of all 10 to lock down, and he's got a leap that can go over walls, right?
Yeah,
There's a lot of survivability on both these teams.
It's going to take a little bit more than just the average tricks to really lock any of these players down. And that might be why we see so few kills. 13 minutes, it's 4-3. A lot of times in Season 3, we've seen more action.
And I think the players, or because there's so much mobility and so much disruption in these team fights, that the teams who engage smarter are going to find the victories.
Right now, we'll see if anybody engages on Team Flex as they take out the Harpies. No go. 3 members of Denial there. I thought we might have seen a flash, but Denial opt to play it a little bit safe, now trailing about 2,000 gold. Just by way of little bits of farm here and there. Team Flex really taking charge of the game.
Macetodaface has Doomorb online, starting to stack that up. Lassiz thought he was going to be teleported to by BennyXD. BennyXD ain't teleporting to Lassiz. he's like, no, that's like, I'm not teleporting into an ISIS.
Yeah, we saw that earlier before when Denial was aggressed underneath the tower. The Fear No Evil came out, and the monkey went right on out. He just
Left
dropped
side.
the ultimate.
I think Oceans was kind of baiting himself there. He really wanted Shadowq and Xenotronics to go on him, but the person who is going on is DaretoCare.
Brings down. Shadowq takes a little bit of damage, but the Hou-Yi ultimate's down on top of the Odin. He's going to take a bunch of damage. Isis saves the life of the jungler for the moment. Incon's going to have to run away. Mattypocket shows up, tosses the heal and the support, and no harm, no foul. Denial get a little excited as Team Flex show up on their side of the map, but nothing really paid for it.
This fight was really important for Whalrus. He was able to get a lot of solo farm. He was already 2 to 3 levels behind, gets a tier 1 tower, still has his teleport up in case Flex forced the Gold Fury, but it's going to be Shadowq a little bit caught out there. Stun, not going to be in range, and Incon just going to force Shadowq back.
And Whalrus totally fine with Team Flex doing what they're doing right now. He's going to continue to farm on the right-hand side. Looks like he's getting ready to teleport, and that's exactly what he does.
Gold Fury
teleports on the west side. Gold Fury about half. DaretoCare jumps on in. Isis ultimate is down as well. Top side, Denial very low, and the Ramsay's coming from the sky, but it's not enough to take out Benny. Denial take out the Gold Fury to fight the Team Flex. Started it. Denial gets the steal, and it looks like they'll be able to get out as well. Well, everybody except for Macetodaface, that is. Shadowq under the tower. Benny's backing. Everybody from Denial is safe except for the mid laner, and they steal the Gold Fury right from under Team Flex.
Even Gold, but Flex, they're going to siege this tier 1 in mid. Whalrus is here to defend. Xenotronics around the corner as well. Whalrus in a lot of trouble. No ultimate.
Bang, bang.
Stunned in place, and Lassiz is the last hit on that one. Tier 1 tower going to go down. I'm not exactly sure what Whalrus was thinking, standing in front of 5 players with no help and no escape.
I mean, he's a little bit tanky right now, but that's what you were looking for earlier, Kevin. You were looking for the big burst combination, and that's what Team Flex did, and they're just going to keep on keeping on. The low cooldown from Odin, and look at all that burst, ladies and gentlemen. Shadowq going to get out thanks to the range provided by Xenotronics. Sleepy's activated, but Team Flex could have a hard time getting those basics down there. Oceans
I'm
can't
really
finish the quest.
surprised Lassiz selected to wing us instead of helping Oceans finish that
Same.
off. I mean, that was a dead Shadowq for sure. And it looks like this tier 2 should be able to be sieged. The minion wave's coming in. Mattypocket still has meditation. Actually, he used meditation, but he still has his heals online. Super protection dropped just to help secure this tier 2 tower. Need to be careful though, as Denial Esports, they're coming out 5 strong from their fountain.
I like the play that Team Flex did there, right there. They literally forced that entire engagement in the mid lane. That wasn't a clean fight by any stretch of the imagination. Denial Esports, Benny's gonna blink on in, but Dare's here, and that's a dead monkey. Oceans gets credit for that one. Meanwhile, Whalrus gets the flank on Lassiz, taking out the mid laner, still pushing the issue. Mattypocket gonna be the focus, caught in the midst of the crossfire, but he's able to find himself underneath the tower, no problem. Still, more damage coming out from the guys on Denial, but they're very low. They can't dive the tower like Flex was able to with Guan.
With Guan backing here, Team Flex cannot defend this. They need the Guan healing to keep them alive, and this tier 1 should fall here. Just a matter of time. Flex still coming out of their fountain. And just the back and forth right now. Flex still in the lead, even after all those engagements. 1,800 gold for them. But, I mean, these fights are getting so extended and so awkward.
Well, I liked the choice of the awkward fight there coming from Flex, because so they start the Gold Fury, right? They think they can steal it, and they get it snuck out from under them by Denial.
I mean that was just sloppy.
No,
the Gold Fury was entirely sloppy from Flex. They had 2 players who were kind of on it, 3 players who were, you know, diving the back line, and Macetodaface is just left alone in the middle like, I'm just going to swing away. Hey, no one's attacking me? Okay. Oh, hey, thanks for letting me steal it.
Exactly. So Flex lose the Gold Fury because of sloppy play, and then they realize that they have to make that up. So they make that up by forcing the issue in the mid lane. They understood. They were like, look, we just gave up that Gold Fury. We need to make something happen. Emphasis on that word need. So that fight looked really awkward, but they realized what they had to do. They went right to work and pushed for the tier 2 even, taking away the Gold Fury essentially that Denial just took.
Gold, relatively even. I mean, 1,800 at 18 minutes isn't that big of a deal, but right now, I'm looking at this experience lead, right? Mattypocket has a level, DaretoCare has a level. Lassiz had 3 levels, only 2 now. I mean, like I said, I think Denial Esports, they need to be fighting around Xenotronics right now. The Hoi is just going to be doing more than the Rom.
Dare needs some help, so Lassiz drops the ultimate down. The ring that Odin drops is a perfect circle for the Suns, but it's not enough damage as everybody's able to disperse. But right now, that's Incon caught in the corner. But DaretoCare jumps over the wall, takes out Benny. Whalrus gets the stun onto the Bacchus, and the bludgeon puts the drunk man in the gutter. Gonna find some help underneath the tower is Denial, but Mattypocket's gonna say no. On the horse, gets the stun onto Xenotronics. 3 players on Denial looking at him. Mattypocket's gotta get away, tanks the tower for his friends. And Flex going to heal up and look towards the left tier 1.
This should be free. Macetodaface on half, Shadowq's here. No wave, but I mean, Flex is still 4 strong at this point. They have the Guan Yu, and that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna finish off the wave, they're gonna get control of it. There's only 4 players left alive to defend this, and only 2 in position right now.
Nice though, not enough to get the stun. Looked like if that stun was confirmed, they would go all in on Shadowq. Ring drops.
Just trying to get the tier 1, but miscommunication from the teams there. You could see that the rest of Flex wanting to back off.
Nice spear, Paul. Just going to give them a little bit of room. Dare might not get this back off.
Lazy, he's on a ward, no mana. He's going to be stunned out. There's his shield, and he's just trying to full-on retreat. You can see Flex trying to help him get out.
Even Oceans on the left side going to find himself in a little bit of trouble, but Incon never going to leave him behind. Up in the air, 1 shot. 2 shots going to miss, and not enough time for a third. Incon. He'll be fine.
This is in favor of Flex once again. When you fight a Guan Yu, especially a Guan Yu who not only has max CDR, but meditation as well, if you can't burst a player, don't fight. You have to engage with your full team. You need to eliminate someone, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be the Guan, but it has to be someone. And right now, Denial are really struggling at doing that. 3 of their kills were very early on, and it was Xenotronics rotating. Now, 2 kills in the last 12 minutes.
Incon showing his face as Denial start up the Gold Fury, but Incon has already shown that he's there, so Denial not going to finish what they started.
Can we see Gold in hand real quick? Okay, not as much as I thought. Gold Fury will be started up though. Lassiz has his ultimate.
Everyone knows
as well.
Last time Flex did this, they got the Gold Fury stolen right from under their nose. I don't know if they can force another fight like they did last time, but now they'll just fight right here. DaretoCare drops the ring, and it's going to get Whalrus for a little bit, but here's the counter initiation out of Denial. Fantastic ultimate from the Monkey, and a lot of damage has been dealt, but unfortunately for Denial, it's been dealt onto them. Oceans rolls away from the damage out of Shadowq, who's still aggressing onto the Hunter. Strong stun out of the Isis will stop the aggression onto the Hunter, but Whalrus takes out Mattypocket in the back, which will be a big swing for Team Flex. Without their healer, they have to retreat.
That was the important part, picking off Mattypocket in that engagement. He's actually built into no health. I didn't even realize. Yeah. That is probably the worst thing he could have done here. Instead of the Jotuns, right, go straight into a bulwark, help your survivability, because if you die in the fight, your team can't, you know, reset and re-aggress. BennyXD in a little bit of trouble. One shot on the wing gust, and BennyXD caught sleeping. Xenotronics is here, gonna try and 1v1, but DaretoCare is lurking in the corner. Blink, is it up? Yes, it is, but Flex are gonna drop that one.
Lassiz just up to his old tricks, getting the picks by himself. Not a problem for him.
I think Allied said it best last week, right? Lassiz, he goes up and he goes down, but if in clutch situations, he's the one to make the plays.
Right now, DaretoCare trying to make a play of himself. Xenotronics jump is down, and that's a lot of damage. A couple of wing gusts and a jump might be the end, but they need to find the basic. Incon secures the kill with the belly flop out of nowhere. And that's going to put one member of Denial under the tower.
He's got to build health. He's getting shredded right now, but it's only 2, and Mace to the face. He's caught alone. Rewind not activated. It's just a matter of time as Oceans gets the last hit. And now Whalrus jumping into the 2v5 as well. What are Denial doing? They're going in one at a time. They're getting picked off. BennyXD, big fear, no evil, picks up Lassiz. Ocean takes to the sky. 1, 2, third shot misses. Whalrus going to be able to reset, but now Ocean shredding through these frontliners.
Shadowq gets the mez off to buy himself a couple of seconds, but he's surrounded in an arena built by the Allfather. Couple of basics. Oceans gets the kill, but unfortunately for Odin, it happens after the ring falls, so no passive boost. Team Flex created enough space off of those 3 kills to aggress onto the Gold Fury one more time. This time, Kevin, I don't think Denial's going to even think about stealing this.
It's been pretty close, but it's about to get real bad for Denial. These fights, they've been going back and forth. Mattypocket working on Bulwark. He's going to get a lot of health. This tier 1 on left, guaranteed dead. But look at this. Is Denial? Try. Okay, I almost thought they were trying to stink the Fire Giant. I mean,
I would have loved it.
You look at it, there's no wards. If there's one team that's going to do it, it's going to be Denial.
It's Denial.
That's exactly what they're doing.
It's Denial. They're going for it. No vision coming out from the guys on Flex. They have an idea, though. There's a couple of backs. Ultimates have been unleashed. Fire Giant down to 50%. Lassiz coming on his way, but he's an Isis.
It's not going to be in time. They're going to be able to secure this. This is a snuck Fire Giant from Denial.
1,000 HP. Sleeping. Denial Esports take the Fire Giant. Surprise.
All 5 members of Flex on the left-hand side. No wards on the right-hand side. Such an intelligent play coming out of Denial. Teams haven't played Denial in a long time. This is what Denial was known for. I still remember Season 2 relegations, right? When we only had 2 guaranteed, right? The 2 teams from Worlds. Denial tried a 10-minute Fire Giant. And the funny thing was that the Fire Giant didn't spawn at 10 minutes. Its animation started at 10 minutes, and it spawned at 10 minutes and 10 seconds. So they burnt Ice Assault. I think they had I know they had an Anubis. They like all in the Fire Giant at 10 minutes, but it was really, it spawned at 10 minutes, 10 seconds. They have 6th because they got wiped.
Yeah,
because they spent everything on it and didn't get it. They were behind, to be fair, to begin with. But
Denial, most notably Shadowq, has always been sort of the spearheader of the creative strategies. And right there from Team Flex, I don't know if you call that a mistake, Kevin, but when you realize that what's going on is going on and you're in the left lane with no way to get there, do you just push for the Phoenix? Is that the right play to just say let bygones be bygones? They're obviously going to get it. There's no way you can back and get to the Fire Giant.
It's really hard because they had no vision. They recognized that that's what Denial Esports was going to do, but they actually weren't aware where they were or how close it was or how much damage. That's like I have no idea how much damage.
Just because there's literally no way you can traverse the map that fast. Even with a Yacht Assault, I think they would have been boned, honestly.
With the Yacht Assault, they probably would have been fine. If they immediately recognized it, it would have been much closer.
Ocean's starting to chunk now, as you were talking. This is sort of a fun point. I like the team building coming out from Team Flex here. I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment, because it's all about Odin, who's going to drop the ring, trap a couple people in.
No one else to follow up, though, and he's going to be in a lot of trouble. BennyXD, DaretoCare on 1 health, and it's going to be Xenotronics with the Suns finding that one, and now Mace to the face can't get his reset off Oceans. Able to snipe him out. BennyXD way too deep. He XD'd way too hard there, and now Denial, they're on full retreat.
But it's Still not enough to take out the tower. Almost thought that one was going down. Mattypocket avoids the stun coming out, and Shadowq still going to fall despite avoiding the stun from Mattypocket.
Whalrus gets his back off, barely.
We've seen a lot of those just in your face backs.
Mace's positioning has been questionable all game, right? Earlier on, he was diving very deep, trying to basically bait everything to him and hit the rewind.
Right.
He does it again, but he does it in the middle of a team fight with circle protection, boxes, and top. There's way too much AoE damage on Flex for him to do that. He gets picked up, honestly, in the middle of his rewind. I don't even think he was even close. Whalrus going to be able to actually teleport in and sneak a tier 2. I actually kind of like that play.
Just funky stuff coming out from Denial.
Oh, Dare's going to chase him, though. He's going to get cut off. I like the play, but I think Whalrus is going to die here.
We'll see. Fire Giant's going to be able to bring up that HP, and little run out of the Raven Shield protects him from a bunch of damage. Whalrus has the ultimate available. Ultimate's out, but, I mean, now here's the rest of Team Flex. See you later, Whalrus.
He's done.
When it was just him and Dare.
Oh, no, they were pinging. I saw that. They were like, I want that Whalrus. That's all me. Left-hand side, though, tier 2 still available. No minions, but all 5 players are flexing. This is how useful this Guan Yu is, right? No matter how much poke they take from these towers, he's just going to be able to heal him up. And now that Mattypocket has that Bulwark online, he's not going to get bursted. The problem was that Mace was shredding him, right?
Yeah.
And even though Mace was behind, even though Mace is only level 16, he was still having enough damage. Now with Bulwark online, much harder for Denial Esports to pick him off.
I want to point out what Oceans did just there on the left side. So he gets to the tower a little bit before his teammates, and understands he doesn't really want to tank the tower, Kevin. He's the precious hunter. So what he does is, for that split second that he's waiting for his team to go tank the tower for him, he shoots the astral arrow through the wall out of the tower. Just to get the damage that he can, just every little bit of damage that Oceans can get.
Just a little bit extra.
Just looking for it. It's a single arrow, but it hit. And that's, always looking for the min-max potential is definitely a trait that I can look for.
It's about a 7,000 gold lead now, though. We're 28 minutes into the game. Gold Fury is about to spawn, and that was kind of the start of it, right? When it was like a 1,800 gold lead, a 2K gold lead. When the fight went really bad for Denial and they lost that Gold Fury, I'm like, this is going to start to snowball. And even though Denial were actually able to sneak away a Fire Giant and kind of delay the inevitable,
sure,
it's a matter of they tried to force the fight with FG when really the game was only even, right? Their FG kind of caught them up to the lead that Flex had. It didn't really make them stronger than Flex. And then they, I think, felt a little bit overconfident. You saw BennyXD diving past the tier 2 while the tower was still up. And just Team Flex's comp where it's all about the sustain damage, where it's all about the sustain, right? Just like Mattypocket, as long as he doesn't die, he's just spamming Conviction. And they're just healing. Can we actually take a look at healing? It's probably 15,000 plus.
You think so?
22,000 right now. Yeah, oh, my word.
Yeah, Mattypocket's spamming.
No one even has that much damage. Like, not even close, right? It's Ho Yi has 18,000 from Denial Esports. That's kind of close.
It's kind of close. Kind of close.
And now Mattypocket has Urchin, and it's going to be that much harder to kill him.
A little bit late for an item that the stacks really make all the difference, though, don't you think?
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of a matter of he really needs the health, and he wants protections from both, so it's kind of works out. Spirit Robe is another option in this scenario, but doesn't have health.
Sure. Right?
And that's the big thing right now. Mattypocket just wants to stack health so he can't get bursted, because as long as he can get out, he can just heal back to full. Blink in by DaretoCare, though.
And that's going to ring in the Ho Yi, who's got no jump anymore. But again, the ring is the perfect size for that ultimate out of Xenotronics. Jump in from Incon and a big hit from Oceans. Xeno not going to be here any longer. Shadowq now half HP. The rest of Team Flex going to opt not to chase him.
Look at left side, though. Whalrus, once again, teleports in, finds a split push tier 2. Or Flex is just going to ignore it for now. They're going to be trying to find a couple more pickoffs, and that could be Mace to the face. Rewind is available, but they're going to turn their attention to BennyXD. And Denial honestly kind of running them in a circle for now, but Flex smartly chooses to pick up the Phoenix.
Great mez coming out from Shadowq, just not enough to defend the Phoenix. That's going to fall. And left side, as you said, Whalrus still pushing the option, but
Denial going to try and stop the backs to allow Whalrus to get that tower. But honestly, this could have just been a bait. Shadowq, one health. He's knocked up. There's Sleepy Time, and it's going to be Oceans to find that kill. And if, honestly, Flex can find 1 or 2 more kills, this is game.
Mattypocket's going to show up to play defense. They'll take out the minions. Bellona by herself looking to take out a little bit of this Phoenix. Stun, not in time, just in time. Phoenix still up. And the damage coming out from Bellona, there it is, finally! Denial get the Phoenix trade they were looking for, but even without Mattypocket, Flex able to go take out the right Phoenix as well. So 2 Phoenixes taken by Team Flex, and despite Denial's best effort, they still come up short with just a single Phoenix.
That could be a worthwhile trade, but I mean, if Flex managed to get the Fire Giant off this, it's definitely not. You can see 3 members of Denial. They smell it out. They know what's happening. DaretoCare, he's on defense. Bird Bomb activated. He's going to jump onto BennyXD. No blink for him. He's going to jump forward, though. Fire Giant, it's low, but he's eliminated by the Spirit Ball before he can
25.
get Fear No Evil off.
Fire Giant, very low, 2,000 HP. There's 1,000. Team Flex gets the Fire Giant, and everybody turns around and walks towards the Denial base, blue and red alike. But Team Flex then decides they want to change their mind and walks back into their own jungle, chasing the Chronos.
Ace to the face here. He's going to be able to rewind, but actually, just kidding. That Spirit Ball hit him for half his life.
That was a huge chunk put out by Lassiz.
I mean, Mace to the face just has not been effective on this Chronos. We've seen Chronos time and time again in these relegation process just be useless, honestly, right? He's 0-5-5. I don't know exactly what his win rate is, but I've seen maybe 1 or 2 wins and like 10 losses at this point. I'll have to go back and look it up, but I mean, Chronos just hasn't been that effective. It just seems that teams can't get him online to where he is making a big impact.
Yeah, Chronos does need a little bit of protection, I suppose. Maybe not as much as Zeus, or maybe so because of how bursty these compositions wind up being. Xenotronics in a little bit of trouble, getting aggressed on by, well, everyone. Oceans gets him from the sky. Hunter v Hunter. Although I think Oceans had a little bit of help by way of his teammates, Lassiz.
Incon. He's gonna catch him out. Shadowq knocked up. Silenced out, stunned out. DaretoCare is going to have the last hit on that one. 2 Phoenixes down. It's only the left-hand side, 1 remaining. 3 players up for Denial Esports as 5 players from Flex aggress into it. They're not even going for the last Phoenix.
They're going for
Whalrus. On Whalrus.
The jump's already down. He gets stunned. He gets slowed. He gets taken out. Ocean's on top of that one. Mace to the face. It gets hit as well. Fear No Evil going to send the Team Flex into Denial's base. The Titans being aggressed on right now. No way Benny can XD his way out of this one. Denial Esports fall to Team Flex. Best of 5. And Team Flex is sitting on top. 1-0.
That was pretty clean from them. BennyXD didn't really seem to have much of an impact that game. Most notably, though, I'm looking at the core of Denial, right?
Okay.
The mid, the jungle, the support. Probably the most critical portion of your gameplay, right? You put your solo laners and your hunters on the side. It's like, all right, just get to late game, right? But if your core can't help you get there, right? Sure. If they're losing these 1v1s, 2v2s, and 3v3s, it gets really rough. And Mace to the face, 0-5-5, I think, at the end, was just a non-impact. He was constantly diving very deep, basically trying to bait. The idea of Chronos, I like it, right? Where you dive deep, trying to bait all these cooldowns on you, then you rewind and you re-aggress.
The old lightning round.
But he was just dying before he even got the rewind off. There was just too much burst coming out once Flex realized to coordinate it against Mace.
And that's exactly what we were talking about earlier in the game when well, Flex was deleting Mace to the face. You said that maybe Chronos, it just hasn't worked out in these relegations. And a lot of times we think of Chronos as relatively safe because of how powerful rewind is, and you know he even has a slow into the stun. But the problem is that in this day and age, with the way the Doom Orb works and just the amount of burst, I mean, even Odin's coming back, right? It's all about the burst, baby. You're not able to actually get that rewind off. So maybe Chronos needs a little bit more protection by way of how we used to see the Zeus comps with the Neaths and all the CC.
Let's take a quick look at First Blood, though. The shining light of Denial, in my opinion, was Xenotronics on this Hou-Yi.
Yeah.
A very early rotation, sub 4 minutes, picks up Lassiz, and this was the First Blood that should have gone to Flex. Lassiz misses a point-blank Spirit Ball on Whalrus, though. He's able to just barely get out. And I think Lassiz was a little bit rusty at the start of this match. I saw him miss a Spirit Ball on red buff, and then I saw him miss it on a point-blank Bellona, but he started sniping some players out the later the game went.
One player that didn't miss too many things was Oceans, the rookie in the long lane coming out for Team Flex, was really on point. We'll take a look at a bunch of his plays that he put on display today. Picking out this Ram, and you said, you know, if you're going to play this Ram, you better have your accuracy on point, and certainly did not disappoint this time around.
Maybe if I lay on the floor, they won't realize I'm here. And Oceans, though, played very well. Obviously, it was rough for him early. He played a Rom, who struggles a lane, especially against Toyi, who just wants to
Yep.
fight you, and if he could find his stun, he could basically 100-0 combo you. Oceans was soloed in the beginning of the game, but, I mean, once the team fights broke out, and he was allotted a little more space, could get deeper into his build, just the positioning. And this guy, I've seen, honestly, startup hunters are probably the most failed prospects I've seen in Smite, right? Macetodaface, Bronx, Famous 8, like, and these are still good players, but it seems like they come in already at the top of their potential.
Sure.
That's what's happened a lot,
Yeah, I
right?
feel you.
They're good. Like, I'm not saying that these players are bad. They're good. But it seems like they come in, we're like, this is a new guy to the scene. He's, you know, going to be the next star. And it's just, he's already at the top of his potential. Oceans, I hope he's not that guy. Because so far, what I've seen from him is the same thing I saw from Bronx, the same thing I saw from Madman Market, the same thing I saw from Famous 8. We'll have to see if he can take it to the next level, though. And honestly, he could be the reason that Flex, you know, a lot of people are kind of joking around, right? Flex, okay, they're going to make it in. They'll be like 6th, 7th, you know, 8th, kind of the bottom league. But I think this guy can make them a top 4 team. I don't know if it's going to happen, but if they play around him, it could.
I mean, I'm definitely excited for it. I find it funny that there are tons of veterans in this game right here on both sides of these teams, and yet your standout player on Denial was Xenotronics, and if you ask me who my standout player on Flex was that game, it was Oceans. It was the 2 rookies in the long lane that really stood out the most in our sort of battle of the old guys. So that just gets me excited.
I mean, Xenotronics, I don't know how good he is going to be in the long run. Like, I like him in that matchup specifically.
Yeah,
I haven't seen enough game from him. We'll have to see though if he can make it.
Yeah, I mean.